Deep inside a wild forest, a legendary warrior named Finist rides into danger alongside his loyal companion, Andy. The villagers have been living in fear of a gigantic winged boar that destroys their crops and leaves devastation wherever it goes. While others tremble at the creature's presence, Finist confidently boasts that the entire village sees him as a hero and that failing this hunt would destroy his reputation. Armed with courage and determination, he launches himself at the monstrous beast. Andy joins the attack, but their weapons barely scratch the animal's thick hide. Suddenly, the boar awakens in a furious rage and charges straight toward Andy. Without hesitation, Finist throws himself into the beast's path, trying to stop it with pure strength. Yet the creature effortlessly sends him flying through the air. As chaos erupts, Andy tosses a rope toward his friend, setting the stage for an incredible battle. Grabbing the rope at exactly the right moment, Finist manages to wrap it around the boar's wings and horns, forcing the enormous beast under his control. To the amazement of everyone watching, he rides the creature through the skies and returns triumphantly to the village. The crowd erupts with cheers as they celebrate his victory. However, among the spectators stands the mysterious witch Baba Yaga, who remains unimpressed. She challenges Finist to prove that his strength is truly as great as people claim by moving a giant stone blocking the flow of water near her home. Offended by such a simple challenge, Finist begins boasting about the countless dangers he has faced. Baba Yaga calmly replies that stories mean nothing without proof. The villagers laugh, and for the first time, Finist feels his pride wounded. Humiliated and furious, he storms home determined to restore the glory that seems to be slipping away. Unable to endure the mockery, Finist searches for a way to regain his fame. Andy offers him the perfect opportunity. Beyond the village stands a mysterious tower where a terrifying monster is said to be holding a beautiful princess captive. Legends claim that whoever defeats the beast and rescues the princess will become famous throughout the world. Hearing this, Finist immediately decides that this will be his next great adventure. As night falls, he and Andy journey toward the tower. Upon arriving, they discover other warriors gathered there. Unlike Finist, these men are not seeking glory. They hope to save the princess and win her heart. When they ask who will marry her if the monster is defeated, Finist dismisses the idea entirely, claiming he only wants recognition. Secretly, however, he plans to confront the monster alone and claim all the credit for himself. Refusing to wait until morning, Finist slips into the tower through a window and finally comes face to face with the mysterious princess. Instead of welcoming him, she asks whether he has come merely to die like the others. Finist insists that he is there to save her, but the girl quickly retreats deeper into the tower. As he follows her, a giant serpent suddenly attacks from behind. Finist immediately fights back, only to realize with horror that this snake is actually the tail of the monster he came to defeat. He unleashes powerful attacks, but none of them work. Desperate, he grabs the serpent's jaws and tries to tear them apart with his bare hands. Suddenly, the creature spits directly into his eyes. In an instant, darkness consumes his vision. Blinded but unbroken, Finist desperately searches for his weapon and continues fighting, refusing to surrender. Though blind, Finist keeps attacking with relentless determination. His blows shake the entire tower until the structure begins collapsing around him. The thunderous destruction awakens the other warriors, who rush toward the scene expecting to find either the monster or the princess. Instead, they discover only rubble and a battered Finist slowly emerging from the wreckage. The princess and monster have vanished without a trace. Andy quickly brings his injured friend home, where the harsh reality sets in. Finist has lost his sight forever. The once proud hero becomes bitter, angry, and frustrated. Watching his friend suffer breaks Andy's heart, so he seeks help from Baba Yaga. After hearing everything, the witch refuses to help. She reminds Andy that when she once needed assistance, Finist ignored her. Learning this leaves Finist devastated, and his life begins falling apart as loneliness and despair slowly consume him. Days turn into weeks, and the legendary warrior's life continues to deteriorate. Even Andy eventually stops visiting as often, leaving Finist to struggle alone. Blind and helpless, he barely manages to buy food, and even then mischievous children steal from him. Eventually, his money runs out completely. When Andy finally visits again, Finist angrily tells him there is no work left for him and orders him to leave. Soon afterward, poverty forces the once famous hero to survive on rotten fruit discarded in the marketplace. One day, as he sits hungry with an empty basket, Baba Yaga quietly places food inside it. Before either of them can speak, disaster strikes. Ruthless bandits storm the village, slaughtering innocent people. Though he cannot see, Finist hears every scream and every cry for help. Guided only by sound, he rises once again to defend his people. Despite his blindness, Finist fights with astonishing skill, taking on several bandits at once. When one attacker throws a rope around him, Finist cleverly uses it to pull the man from his horse and beat him unconscious. But eventually, the overwhelming numbers prove too much. Struck from behind, he loses consciousness. When he awakens, he finds himself imprisoned aboard a ship. His neck and hands are locked into wooden restraints. Nearby are Baba Yaga and many captured villagers. To everyone's surprise, Andy is walking freely around the vessel. He explains that he convinced the pirates he was on their side. Secretly, he has stolen a golden lamp from them. Curious, he rubs it clean, and a powerful genie bursts out. Panic spreads across the ship. Even a pirate rushing to investigate is instantly killed by the magical being. Yet Andy wastes his wish by ordering the genie to return to the lamp. Moments later, a furious pirate reclaims the lamp and threatens Andy at sword point. Eventually, the ship arrives in Arabia, where the captured villagers are lined up and prepared to be sold as slaves. During the auction, a mysterious masked man purchases Finist, Baba Yaga, and Andy together. They are brought to an enormous palace unlike anything they have ever seen. Inside, mechanical servants perform countless tasks. The captives are shocked because such technology should not exist in this ancient world. The masked man reveals himself as a scientist and proudly explains that he created the robots himself. He claims to have spent centuries inventing machines to improve human life. Finist shares the tragedy of losing his sight and everything that followed. The scientist listens carefully and explains that he often purchases slaves simply to set them free, earning the admiration and gratitude of his unexpected guests. At dinner, robotic servants deliver food with perfect efficiency, leaving the visitors convinced they are witnessing magic. The scientist laughs and insists that everything is the result of science, not sorcery. He even reveals that he has been alive for 500 years thanks to a special chemical that preserves youth forever. Curious and hopeful, Finist asks whether such science can restore his eyesight. The scientist responds by fitting him with an extraordinary pair of glasses. Instantly, Finist can see again. Amazed by the miracle, he begins believing in the scientist's vision. Yet the scientist also declares war on all magical forces, claiming they are dangerous and harmful. To demonstrate, he produces the stolen lamp. Ignoring Baba Yaga's warnings, he summons the genie and activates a machine that drags the magical being inside, apparently destroying it forever. Later that night, news arrives that a dangerous monster has been terrorizing a nearby mountain region. The scientist immediately decides to capture it. When Finist hears the description, a lion-like head and a serpent tail, he realizes it is the very creature responsible for his blindness. Determined to finally take revenge, he insists on joining the expedition. Although the scientist worries about the danger, Finist refuses to stay behind. In appreciation for his help, the scientist provides him with a powerful gadget capable of trapping the monster alive. Meanwhile, Baba Yaga secretly sneaks into the laboratory, hoping to steal the scientist's youth-preserving chemical. She is caught immediately. Rather than punish her, the scientist promises to share some of the formula if they successfully bring back the monster. The next morning, preparations begin for a journey unlike anything they have ever experienced. Before departing, the scientist unveils an astonishing spacecraft capable of transporting them across vast distances in a fraction of the time. After teaching them how to operate it, he emphasizes one important condition: the monster must be captured alive. He even upgrades Finist's weapon with advanced technology, transforming it into something far more powerful than before. Soon, the group reaches the mountain where the beast supposedly lives. After hours of searching, Finist discovers tracks leading into a cave. Carefully placing the scientist's capture machine outside the entrance, he ventures inside. Knowing he must not kill the creature, he simply provokes it and retreats. Everything seems to be working perfectly until he accidentally slams his head into a tree and collapses unconscious. The monster emerges from the cave, ready to strike, while Finist lies helpless before it. Just as the beast approaches its defenseless prey, Baba Yaga activates the capture device. Chains explode outward, wrapping around the monster and dragging it into the machine. The mission appears successful, and the group begins the long journey home. That night, while resting along the way, Finist hears the voice of a young woman coming from inside the cage. Ignoring Baba Yaga's warnings, he opens it. To his astonishment, the prisoner is the same princess he encountered in the tower. Baba Yaga immediately realizes the truth. The princess and the monster are one and the same. She warns Finist that releasing her could be extremely dangerous. But Finist has already fallen for her. The princess sadly reveals that she suffers under a terrible curse. Whenever a man touches her, she transforms into the monster, a fate she never chose for herself. The princess explains that she is not evil and only becomes violent when attacked. To avoid hurting anyone, she has hidden herself away in the mountains, yet humans continue hunting her. Elsewhere, the scientist captures a magical cat whose glowing powers help a poor farmer. Ignoring the farmer's desperate pleas, he places the animal beneath his machine and extracts its magic. The creature is reduced to a strange chemical substance that joins countless similar vials already stored in his laboratory. Back on the journey, Finist and the princess grow closer and begin falling in love. Eventually, Baba Yaga and Andy bring the princess to the scientist's palace. Before revealing themselves, they secretly observe him conducting another experiment. To their horror, they discover that his robots are not powered by science alone but by magic stolen from innocent magical creatures. The shocking truth becomes impossible to ignore. The scientist has been draining magical beings and converting their power into chemicals that fuel both his inventions and his unnaturally long life. Furious, Baba Yaga confronts him directly. She exposes his deception, accusing him of murdering harmless creatures while pretending to be humanity's savior. The scientist's calm demeanor vanishes instantly. Enraged, he admits that anyone who learns his secret never survives. Realizing the danger, Baba Yaga and Andy flee and free both Finist and the princess. The princess reveals that the scientist has hunted her for a very long time. Moments later, he arrives with an army of robots and activates his machine once again. This time, he begins draining the princess's magic. Finist desperately tries to save her, but he remains trapped and powerless. Unable to break free, Finist makes a desperate decision. He reaches out and grabs the princess's hand, triggering her curse. Instantly, she transforms into the monstrous beast and smashes through her restraints before escaping. Amid the chaos, Baba Yaga and Finist manage to flee as well, but the scientist launches a relentless pursuit. Using magic, Baba Yaga creates obstacles by throwing watermelon seeds that instantly grow into giant melons. The scientist responds by unveiling his ultimate weapon, a colossal turtle-shaped robot. Andy tries to convince him that he already possesses enough magical chemicals, but greed has completely consumed the scientist. As the giant machine emerges, parts of the palace collapse under its enormous weight. Climbing inside the robotic monster, the scientist begins bombarding Finist and Baba Yaga with powerful attacks, determined to silence them forever. While cannon fire rains down around them, Finist forms a plan. He tells Baba Yaga to distract the robot while he climbs aboard and flips it over. If the massive machine falls onto its back, it will be unable to recover. As Baba Yaga approaches, the robot's machinery begins draining her magic, causing her to age rapidly before Finist's eyes. Horrified but determined, she continues helping him. Finist reaches the top of the robot, but during the struggle his magical glasses fall away, leaving him blind once again. Guided only by Baba Yaga's instructions, he keeps fighting. Suddenly, the monster princess arrives. Terrified, the scientist loses focus. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Finist wraps chains around the robot and successfully overturns it. The magical chemicals stored inside begin spilling out, and the scientist's entire empire starts collapsing. As the robot overturns, the scientist attempts to escape using magical wings. However, deprived of the stolen power sustaining them, the wings fail completely. He falls into the sea of magical chemicals below and dies. Exhausted from the battle, Finist collapses unconscious. Seeing him lying motionless, the princess is overcome with grief. By now, her feelings for him are genuine and deep. Tears stream down her face and fall into Finist's eyes. Miraculously, he awakens. Even more astonishing, his sight has fully returned. Filled with joy, he confesses his love and promises to stay by her side forever. Yet the princess sadly reminds him that her curse still remains. Believing they can never truly be together, she refuses his offer. Heartbroken, Finist returns home with his companions, while thoughts of her continue haunting his heart. Back in the village, Finist struggles to move on from the princess he loves. Meanwhile, Baba Yaga continues researching ways to regain her youth and eventually discovers something even more important: a method to break the princess's curse. Excited, she rushes to tell Finist the incredible news. The curse was never the princess's fault. Someone deliberately placed it upon her, and now there may finally be a way to free her from its power. With new hope lighting the path ahead, Finist prepares for another adventure, one that promises to continue in the next chapter of this magical story.